they tell me that the pilots had a code of honor. The Germans and the English, or the Allied, had a code of honor. There was no dirty tricks kind of thing. If they saw you were in trouble, they wouldn't go in for the kill. They'd let you go down.
That happened early in the war.
Tell me about that.
Well, that's what you said. Just happened early in the war. If your gun wasn't working, the enemy saw that wasn't working, why you just wave them goodbye and take off. But that didn't happen after, well into 1916, the end of 1916. That was all finished with. You're up there to fight and fight to the finish.
I think in the early stages of the war, 1914, perhaps early part of 1915, they used to pot at each other with sporting rifles or something like that, and they would miss and they would probably wave and that sort of stuff. But I never waved to a Hun. If there was any chance of shooting him down, I did. And I know no Hun would spare an effort to shoot me down if he could.
I never saw, neither any of my colleagues, any acts of chivalry, either on the German side or our side. But I can give you a bit of experience about myself, because when I was shot down and I was very badly wounded, the German pilot dived on us 2 or 3 times, firing his guns to make certain that we would be out of action. Well, I have no ill feeling against this German pilot, because after all, what is war? You're going to war to kill your enemy. And this is what this German officer was trying to do. And as I say, I personally never witnessed an act of chivalry.
The bomber escort was the first time I really flew in formations during that. We used to fly 4 machines in a diamond formation, and we flew over the bombers, the big machines. They used to fly around about 5,000 or 6,000 feet, and we would go up to about 10,000. But, of course, our enemy at that time was the Fokker. And the one thing about the Fokker was it had a ceiling which was so high that it left every RFC aeroplane standing like a goldfish in a bowl with its nose up and not getting up at all. We could not reach it. And the Fokker system was to get up high and wait. And when it was up at about, say, 17 or 18,000 feet, we would come waffling along at about 10, and they would then dive down on our bombers. So they had to go first through the fighter cover above the bombers, and then through the bombers.
Well, a dogfight, you see, was when you really got mixed up. The 2 sides got mixed up, the enemy and ourselves. Well, you just had to fight then. You couldn't do anything else.
And so the fight began at these altitudes and engaged and disengaged with bursts, perhaps 30 or 40 rounds. Tracer ammunition, you understand, 3-in-1 tracer, so that there was always some idea of where you were fighting, because your sights really were no good in these quick dogfights. There wasn't time to focus anything. It was just really snap shooting.
If possible, I always prefer to attack from the back. I have sometimes had to attack from the side. They allow for deflection. In fact, the first German enemy aircraft I shot down was from he came right across me. And I just pressed the button, you see, as he went across. I didn't even know I'd shot him down.
That was more or less the life when one was not in the air. And one mustn't think of it entirely as being lived up. Because, you see, people were being killed every day. Your best friend, my best friend, was there one evening and he wasn't there next day at lunch. And this was going on all the time. And people, you know, reacted to that. You couldn't live that sort of a life and be entirely indifferent to... You may have been cold-blooded in the air because you had to fight as if There was nothing but you and your guns. You had nobody at your side, nobody who was cheering with you, nobody who would look after you if you were hit. You were alone, and you fought alone and died alone. But those who died weren't there when we came back.